último lanzamiento de un Space Shuttle.
Well, the feeling is one of great excitement. This may be the last flight for Shuttle, but the first flight for a full-up station demonstration of the capability of robots to repair satellites in orbit and refuel them and do them at great distances from the Earth, like geosynchronous orbit. And if you remember the last time we met, we were doing it with humans on Hubble, and we did it 5 times on Hubble. And we had versions of these kinds of tools, so we learned a lot through the whole process of doing 5 Hubble repair missions, how to develop robotic tools so they can be controlled from the ground. And Dr. Ed, Sir Ed Chung, has developed the optical system and the electronic system that allows to put TV stereo-like cameras on these 2 sensors to look exactly at what we're doing, have the lights that would provide lighting for those cameras, and electronics that would send those pictures continuously down to the ground so that operators on the ground at the control station can move the robots around to do all kinds of jobs like refueling connectors, opening up these valves, and being able to go through cutting the wires with various tools, and then basically pumping fluid that's contained inside here through those connectors and demonstrating that we could refuel hydrazine on these spacecraft. So that's all being done for the first time, all robotically controlled and commanded from the ground, taken care of with this demonstration module on the external side of space station. No humans in space are involved, all robotics. And that's a great thing to have happen. And thanks to Dr. Ed over here, it would have never happened without his brilliance. And I use the word brilliance because that's what it takes to do this sort of thing and to go through all the technological problems and innovations needed. Dr. Ed handled it. Sir Ed. And we really are appreciative of what Aruba brought to the space agency. And we're very, very glad that Ed's working with us from that. Even though once a year he goes back to Aruba to say hello to his family, we only allow him a couple of weeks at a time. Right, Ed?
I'm glad that is true, Seth.
Yes,
Thanks for that time.
Yeah. And we're very glad to have him. And we'll be doing more robotic stuff in the next few years with us. This is the last mission on Shuttle, but the beginning of a brand new era of being able to use robots and humans to go out 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 miles from the Earth and go on their adventures and be able to repair their vehicles, refuel their vehicles, and do the kinds of things they need to have happen when you're gone 1 or 2 years. Things break. And so robotics, robotic repair will go hand in hand with human exploration. And the humans are really out in front of the robots today technologically. So these kinds of missions are being catch-up, and there'll be a time when the two come back together and are used simultaneous between one and the other. Astronauts will decide when it's best time to do robotics and when it's the best time to do EVA. And there'll be this marriage, and the marriage will be maybe 5, 10 years away, but the technology is going to come together.
Também, o top executivo de NASA está conta PoetsTV, é motivo não que NASA toma a decisão para stop o lançamento de Space Shuttle para o espaço.
Well, all different kinds of reasons that were decided by the agency, and one of them, of course, is cost. It's very expensive to fly these shuttles, but it's also time that we leave the conventional automobile and move to a new, more fuel-efficient kind of propulsion system, power system, and that's kind of the evolution of time. I was here during Apollo, and I was here during post-Apollo, and the same kind of questions. Why are we giving up on Apollo? Why don't we keep going? Why do we want to start on something brand new like the Space Shuttle? And those kinds of questions as you move through my 45 years or 50 years at NASA, those questions came and went and came and went. And we're going to a new era. And guess what? We're going to dive into that new era and do things like this with robotics. And humans will be flying with robotics and with EDA and doing the kinds of things that we did with Hubble. They'll be doing them 10 years from now with new new spacecrafts, new observatories. So it's part of the evolution. Why, it's sort of like why do our kids come along and take over for us as we get older and older? Why do we get the young kids like Ed to step in and take over for us? Because they know it's time that we move on, and they know the technology has evolved to the point where we're ready to move on. Now, us old kids, we don't like to hear that, but the truth of the matter is the new kids know the new technology.
I'm going to retire before you. I know.
No, you're not.
I am. I'm going to be retiring in Aruba before you.
No. I'll lose my vacation rights to Aruba if that happens. So it's been a good experience, and we've moved through the ages. We've moved through the ages of evolution in space. It was in the mid 70s that we started this whole concept. It was in the early 80s that we captured the first spacecraft with robotics. And so there's this continuous evolution. And now here we're doing repairs, demonstrating repairs in an all robotic sort of way.
That's the next level stuff, right?
That's the next level.
Grapple commonplace.
Yeah.
And now we're moving down into repair and very intricate boat level kind of operations.
Yes. More and more delicate. And one day we'll be doing surgery in orbit. And the surgeon will be on the ground. And so those kinds of evolutions are taking place, and they're affecting the way we think. They're affecting our society. If one of the things I bring up here is the ability to do repair communication satellites in GEO, well, 10 years from now, there's going to be many, many, many more communication satellites, and you want to have that capability because they'll all be bumping into each other when they get sick or they die or whatever. And so you want to have a robotic capability to move things around in orbits to take care of maintaining a good operational profile on the ground. And we will be counting on it. Our spectrum for mobile television and mobile radio and iPads and all that will depend on a broad spectrum, a band spectrum of being able to radiate all these digital bits down to the ground. If we expand our need for communications, spectrum communications with iPod 100-fold, in 10 years you'll double the number of communication satellites in orbit. So it's always evolution. So I'll see you in Aruba at Christmas. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Eddie.